Yo, what is up, guys? This is your boy Z Hut. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. And I got a party story for you. Just because my last video was very serious, I wanted to make like more of a lighthearted, funny video where I share a party story because I like these story time YouTube videos. I want to make one myself. Now, this was like my first time at a frat party. I was not at a very frat-friendly university. A lot of the people there were a bunch of stoners and smokers and everything like that, which there was nothing wrong with. There was very rarely any ego-driven violence. It was just a bunch of people chilling out, listening to strange music, and kind of like enjoying their schoolwork and actually enjoying learning. I had actually isolated myself from that university because I was a problem at that university. I did all the wrong things, and looking back, I think if I had played my cards right, I would have actually stayed there a little bit longer and done some more interesting things, and probably went all the way to senior year. I did transfer after my second year. This was on my first year, but I digress. We go to a frat party that was very interesting. I mean, I don't really get along with the whole frat thing. I got nothing against frat guys or sorority girls or anything. I just don't like the whole lifestyle and social pressures and paying for your friends that come along with it. I prefer to make my friends on my own. I feel like if I have to fake my way to get my friends now, I'm doing it wrong. Or if I am paying for my friends, that's even worse. Not to knock anyone who has. I understand why people join fraternities. But having said that, I really didn't have anything much in common with people. So what I did was I went over by the DJ and I just helped this guy like spin tracks. He wanted some ideas for music that he could spin and get the house pumping, get people really on the dance floor, and I actually helped him out. I think I don't want to toot my horn too much, but I think my taste in music actually got the frat guys on the dance floor more than his stuff did. And it actually got me into wanting to DJ and got me into music theory and everything like that. I enjoy it, but moving on, you get cop lights outside. Now, typically, I wasn't really doing anything wrong. I mean, I was a little out there that night. I had some stuff. I had some substance, and so did a lot of my friends from the party. Now, the funny thing is my friend, I'm going to name him Gary for the story, right? Gary had probably topped the scoreboard that night. And like I'm saying, this guy was talking in old English, I believe. I don't know if I was far gone to be thinking that, but this guy just seemed very out there. Like, he was wearing his hood in the party. He was dipping around. Like, you could tell this guy was looking for adventure. And he actually strayed from the group while the group I was with decided to get out of there and go back to the dorm rooms, which was the smart thing to do. He decides to go off on an adventure like we were going from a frat party to something out of Lord of the Rings. Like, I thought I was going to be living a scene from the Two Towers in Fangorn Forest because we were in the woods at that university. And it was an interesting thing. I was actually worried for him because I knew that had he gone into the woods that messed up, he was not going to come back and he was going to strand himself. And I had a bit of a hero's complex deep down at that point in my life. So I was like, I'm going to be like Spider-Man and follow this guy into the woods and really like be there for him when he wakes up. Now, this guy is going through the woods by himself. Like, he was having a fun time just doing his own thing, walking around like thinking he was a mage or something like that. I kind of just joined in with the fun. I picked up a stick, make sure there was no spiders or anything on there, and I just like kind of like started swinging it around, practicing my sword play. Like, I went to a LARP session all by myself with this guy by my side because I was like, we got some time to kill, so I'm just going to go with the flow on this one, and I'm going to use this stick, and it's going to be my Excalibur, and we are going to make some magic happen. And it kind of just became this fun thing where we thought we were playing Oblivion at like 2 a.m. until he snaps out of it a bit, finds out that he's in reality again, and then he looks at me and he says, "Yo, dude, where are we?" And I had forgotten that I had not given much thought into that either. So I looked up and I realized we were about an hour hike away from any civilization in the middle of the woods of rural America. And I started getting a little scared because I thought I was going to be at the end of like some sort of wrong turn situation at this point, because being out in the woods at 2 a.m. with just a buddy, no weapons to defend yourself, just two college freshmen just realizing that we have not been paying attention to where we were at. But I did a 180 and figured, okay, we go that way. Since this is back where we came, we get there pretty fast. And we had to still ourselves and make this hour-long way back. And by the time we got to any sort of civilization, it was 3 in the morning. Now, obviously, we found our way back home. But in that in-between times, we found fences that were out there. I feel like this forest had really turned on us, and the universe was throwing a test our way to make sure we were not too stupid to survive in modern society. Because you get two idiots wandering out into the woods, you have a serious case where nature's going to be like, yeah, I'm going to put them through a serious case of Darwinism. So we got through some fences. We went over and under some of them because there were no rangers looking to see if we were hopping over the fences or whatnot. And then we found a very steep wall that we had to crawl up on all fours on. It wasn't a cliff edge, but it was at like that perfect 15-degree angle upright. Actually, I'd have to say it was at about a good probably 105. But it was a workout, and after you've been partying, you don't need a workout. It makes the workout a lot harder, but we got through it. In fact, I think through that wall climb that we had to make, we had sweated out any sort of toxic substances from our body, and we were 100% sober. And we had seen civilization in a distance, still a bit of a 30-minute walk away. But you make that climb and you get to see the world sky without all the city light pollution. Because when you are living city life where there's all this glitz and glam, you realize just how much that blocks out the night sky. And sometimes it takes not having a phone around, just the compass working, or having any sort of lighted up building around, that you realize just how much civilization blocks out the beauty that is there in the universe. Because I looked up and I saw more stars than I feel like I have ever seen in my life. Like, it was absolutely beautiful. To the point where it did really feel like I was living in a Skyrim scene right now. This was definitely worth the adventure of trying to save someone who could have gotten themselves seriously stranded. He even admitted later, Gary admitted later, that I had saved this guy's life. In fact, I know your real name's not Gary, but if you are watching this and you know who I'm talking about, you're very welcome. In fact, that was actually kind of the trip I needed. But afterwards, me and Gary had to go along the highway just to make sure that there were some cars that could see us coming. I know that maybe that's probably a bad idea. We weren't trying to hitchhike, but we just wanted to make sure that we weren't going to get swallowed up by the woods and had no idea where we were. But we did recognize the highway signs that were super close by the university, and we found our way back. And it was funny because I think everyone was partying hard that night. We get to the university grounds, all the places. Everywhere for food is absolutely closed. He had an old pizza in his apartment that was still edible, might I add, but he said he was going to share that pizza with me for just sake of me, being there for him and saving when everyone else had ran from the police. After that college extravaganza, we had seen that how much everyone was partying that night. Even when they weren't in frats, there were people who were passed out on the streets of the university, over by buildings and everything. Like, you could tell, it was like a synchronicity of everyone was just partying hard that night. Even you see this couple who was absolutely passed out underneath a tree, just kind of like cuddling, which was okay, that. But man, everyone was gone that night. Now, after that little spectacle of the human condition, we get back, and that's when my phone starts blowing up. My friends had called me each 20 times wondering where we were at because they couldn't find us. We just kind of disappeared. They thought we were in jail. They were wondering, should we call the police station to see if they're all right? Or wait, what if they're in the woods? Or what just happened to them? And we had gone back and explained to them this story of me actually being there to guide him back after he got stone cold sober. And he was actually kind of afraid of what he had gotten himself into. And actually, this was probably the most that I actually got to know this guy personally, because we actually had a lot of heart-to-hearts on the way over, just explaining why we are the way we are, who we fit into with the group, and everything like that. And this is probably the most I actually got to know this guy. But we get back and it's like, yeah, we're alive. We just were never arrested. We were just experiencing the walk to Mordor to stop the Ring of Evil from doing anything. And afterwards, they had said, like, you got kind of a walk over to your place. And I was like, yeah, but my roommate's there. He's got the place on lockdown. I'm not really looking to go back. I'm really tired. I'd just been walking for 4 hours straight. So they said, hey, man, we got a couch for you guys. Would you like to, by any chance, like, just spend the night? Because you basically saved our friend's life from ending up in an obituary, which I had accepted. And then we went to breakfast afterwards in the morning when the sun rose. I think I got like 3 hours of sleep that night, but we went to the breakfast lounge and got some burritos and got some eggs and some bacon and some toast and just had a feast. And it was a good time where we really just reminisced on the night, the adventure we had. It wasn't your typical college adventure of doing keg stands or taking massive rips from a BONG and seeing just how space-brained you could get. But what it was just a pure, straight-up experience that I don't think it's for everybody, but it's very eye-opening, and you see a different side of the world, especially when we are on our phones all the time. That when you see a night sky like that, when you rescue a friend, when you have to scale a wall, it just puts a little bit of perspective that I can't quite describe. But it's funny how we could go from wanting to just go to a frat party to DJing to thinking that we were in oblivion to finding our way back, not knowing if we are going to be alive or unalive the next day. That's the story I just have. It was a bit of an adventure. I don't know how else to conclude it, but thank you guys very much for taking your time to listen and have a nice day. God bless.